Your next lit term for this unit is connotation, which is an idea or meaning suggested by or associated with a word or thing. So we often talk about connotation in contrast to denotation. Denotation is the dictionary definition of a word, whereas connotation is more like what's intended or what someone really means when they say something. So let me give you an example. This is also from page 28. It says, in the West and among some in the Indian elite, this word, corruption, had purely negative connotations. It was seen as blocking India's modern global ambitions. But for the poor of a country where corruption thieved a great deal of opportunity, corruption was one of the genuine opportunities that remained. Um, the pro tip asks you to think about the various connotations of the word corruption as it relates to power and opportunity in Anawati. What's interesting is that when Americans, and maybe in particular American teenagers, hear the word corruption, they think of negative things, like that's a pretty negative idea. But what's fascinating about Anawati is that you kind of, as a reader, have to set aside your moral compass when you read this and understand that the idea of good versus evil is not as black and white as we think of it often here in the US. It's very much a gray area. And so the people living in Anawati have to do whatever they can to make money, to, get food and shelter for their families. So often that means that they have to compromise their morality and their value systems in order to get by. Probably the character we see this most with is Abdul. He really grapples with how to be good in a world where, it's really almost impossible to be good, to be pure. Um, yeah, so anyway, again, the pro tip really urges you to think about connotation of corruption, not only as a negative thing, but as a means to an end for people living in Anawati and even those in higher power within that system in Mumbai.